salt and pepper, coffee and donuts, Montreal, and jazz. Some combinations just seem natural. Montreal, North America's largest French-speaking city, which always welcomes its English-speaking neighbors, has been at the cutting edge of music programming for over a quarter-century. They define jazz in the broadest possible terms, offering sounds that range from late-night avant-garde to kid-friendly. Canape visits this annual celebration of all that is music and all that is hospitable Quebec.
Of the Montreal Jazz Festival is a big reunion of music where people have fun and where you can discover all kinds of different artistic views from all over the world. It's a big party mix of jazz, world beat music, animation in the streets, Dixieland, all that kind of things. And there's 150 shows that you can see. For people that don't really know jazz and that want to be involved a little, they go on the outdoor site and it's completely free. You don't need to pay anything. And you can see all kinds of music. There's about 9 to 10 stages, small cafes and things where you can sit and just listen and get to know jazz. And also all other sorts of music, so it's really great. There's different activities for all the family at the Montreal Jazz Festival. You have La Petite École du Jazz, the School of Jazz, for kids, 2 times per day. The main thing about the festival, which is great, it's the atmosphere, and it's so peaceful. Everyone is having fun.
It is a unique culture. I think the general bilingual nature of Montreal is something so unlike almost anywhere else in the world that creates a certain communicative atmosphere. People don't know whether the person next to them is going to start talking to them in English or French to start with. So it's like everybody's kind of a little bit like this anyway all the time. And to me that awareness and that sensitivity transfers to the feeling you get as a performer from the audience here. I don't really think about francophone or jazz or rock or classical. To me, music is one big thing. To me, music is something that is very instructive at showing how really kind of meaningless those terms often are. Music cuts right to the humanity of it. You're going to get different opinions from different people, but to me, I hear more people talk about Montreal as the premier jazz festival in the world than any other. So, you're getting to play at the best festival. And, in a situation like this, and with so many different concerts and all that, it's just a real honor. It's a thrill to be able to do that.
Making the stone stony. That's what one critic calls the function of art, refreshing what we see, hear, or touch every day and giving it back to us as something new. Recently, thanks to artists Christo and Jean-Claude, New Yorkers and countless visitors had a marvelous chance to experience a new Central Park. Their project, The Gates, literally created miles and miles of charming visions of a place once best known for mugging. Canape offers a retrospective of this enchanted event from February 2005. Join us for a stroll.
The Gates we choose because this project involved deeply to the city of New York. We found that one of the most important things in the city of New York that the people walk so much in the sidewalks. And we try to do project involving simple process of walking. The leisurely people walk in the parks, and one park with exceptional quality is Central Park, surrounded with a stone wall, designed by the architect Olmsted in Vaux. It's very Victorian ceremonial park from the 19th century. And of course, our project starts exactly when it entered to the park. The rectangular form of our gates, they're always 16 feet tall, but they have a 25 different width, reflect rectangular grid pattern of 100 city blocks surrounding Central Park, very geometric, where the fabric attached to the horizontal pole, moving in all directions, reflect serpentine character of the walkway system designed by the Olmsted Walks, and also the bare branches of the tree. We choose February because it's the only month we are sure to have a leafless trees. You can see far away the saffron color gates. And of course, the month also we have this beautiful low sun and have this long shadow we see in the afternoon. And gray, silvery color of the tree, monochromic, leafless branches of the tree, we think the saffron will look beautiful.
Not only the fabric, but the 60 miles of vinyl poles we purchased, and the 5,000 tons of steel, which is the equivalent of 2/3 of the steel of the Eiffel Tower in Paris. Everything is recycled. What is the most difficult part in engineering is to be simple. And I could say that out of our 600 installation workers, at least 300 to 400 of them told us personally, but Vince is a genius. It's so easy and simple to assemble.
The project is very intimate. It's very private. You walk through the gates. You should walk. It's not done for the birds. You need to walk through the gates because when it's zero wind, the gates is only 7 feet above the ground. And when there's fabric. And when the wind is blowing, the fabric is in the next panel. But the fabric is like a painting. The light pass and the folds create different shades and movements, where the gates, the form, they create this corridor. And when you walk inside, they are very close, actually almost touch each other. And of course, the park is not flat, they're hills. And when the gates go down and see people coming up, they will be projecting on the back of the fabric, because the fabric almost to touch the ground, because they go down. Sometimes you will see the gates from above. They're down there, 40 feet and 110th Street in Central Park West. From there, they climb up to the Great Hill. And you should go through this. You should walk. If you're young, you can walk 23 miles. If you're a little older, probably a few miles. But you should pass through the gates. You know, the project is paid by the original works of art I do with my own hand. I will be 70 years old in June. I do not have assistant. Ask what artist in that age can tell you. I do the drawings myself, and every original work is done by my own hand. Of course, all the project, the drawings are done before. I do not make drawings when the project is realized.
For us, the temporary character of our works of art is an aesthetic decision. We wish to give to our work of art a quality of love and tenderness that is usually reserved for what will not last. We have love and tenderness for childhood because we know it will not last. We have love and tenderness for our own lives because we know it will not last. This quality of love and tenderness, we wish to give it to our work of art as an additional aesthetic quality.
An image that lasts longer than 5 seconds is rare in today's mall movies. It's almost as if there were no confidence in the image. Quantity, not quality, makes right. Luckily, the great French filmmaker Agnès Varda has always disagreed. She began as a photographer, made her mark as a feature filmmaker, and now leads the digital revolution in documentary. Her new film, Ciné Varda Photo, offers a trilogy of short films drawn from 3 periods spanning over 40 years. The godmother of the French New Wave, as some people call her, visits with Canape.
It came naturally to my mind when I finished Idessa and the Bears, which is a documentary I achieved in 2004, that I made in a way by chance because I bumped into that exhibition in Munich, Germany. And I was so amazed that a collection of photos could bring so much thoughts and so much things around, building, loading the subject. When I finished it, obviously it was too short to show in a theater. So I thought, oh, what can I do? And then it came to my mind clearly that I've made in '62 a film with photos, animated, my own photos. That I made in '82 a film about a photo I took in '54. So it brings me like 50 years ago. And I thought, hey, my God, it should mean that for 50 years I'm interested in the relationship between cinema and photography, or my own cinema with my own photographies. Or I would even say, is it about time to discuss how do we relate with images? You know, we are bombed with images all over, not only news and films and advertising and the papers. So we are not even sometimes discussing what we see. So it's like arrêt sur l'image, you know, like stop and say, hey, what are we looking at and how are we committed to what we see? How do we load with our own meaning what we see? Because an image only represents. So at what point from representation to understanding or emotion, not only to speak about the news that, you know, I mean, bringing so much incredible, unbearable images that we just see and forget, or not forget, Le Cubain. That's interesting because this is history again. You understand that Cuba in '62 was not what Cuba is now. But I was there. I was part of all the people in those years who thought that was something happening there. Very interesting, very revolutionary. It was socialism and cha-cha-cha, you know, we could go with it because it was joyful and energetic. So I made all these images in photo and reanimated them with the music, the Cuban music that we love so much, and I'd studied more or less from where it was coming. So I had a good reason to take all these 3 films together. And the minute I put them together and they were shown, and I've been invited to many festivals, and now here I was at the MoMA presenting the film, and thanks to the MoMA, I must say, the Film Forum, Karen Cooper and the crew there, decided to show it for 2 weeks. So we are opening at the Film Forum a film with no story. It's not really a documentary, it's more an essay again about what do we do with photo, especially the first film, Idessa the Bears, that incredible woman of Toronto who has been collecting, you know, thousands and thousands of photos with a teddy bear.
I've created a fantasy world with my exhibition of a world in which everybody had a teddy bear.
She was a collector, she became the curator, and she made a special exhibition in which she tried to manipulate the visitor. So I overdid that, you know. I manipulate the way she manipulates us.
The teddy bear show is not a theme show. It takes the notion of theme, turns it upside down and inside out.
And I made her like a mise en scène. So I found the whole thing very interesting. And I'm always wondering, will people come? Is there any interest for a film which is more about thinking? I mean, images and thoughts, that's all there is. Finally, Ciné Varda Photo is about photo. It's about cinema. It's about me.
Globalization changes education. Among other things, it makes clear the advantages of speaking more than one language. Founded in 1935, the Lycée Français de New York has been offering a bilingual education for over half a century. Its multinational student body is drawn from over 50 countries and includes increasing numbers of forward-looking Americans. Graduates can be fully prepared for university entrance in the United States, France, or elsewhere in the English and French-speaking worlds. Chair of the Board of Trustees, Elsa Barry takes Canape on a tour of the school's noble traditions and its new facilities.
The history of the Lycée Français de New York is very rich. The school was founded in 1936, and it has grown today to represent schooling for 1,175 students. We were only 800 a few years ago, so we have grown over time, but also rapidly in the last few years. The school has gone through a tremendous change in the last 8 years or so, exemplified mainly by, most visibly by the new building, 150,000 square feet, entirely built to suit our pedagogic needs, but also with a tremendous inflow of pedagogic improvements, awareness of our New York environment, and desire by the board to bring the lycée into its New York environment, open it up to the best aspects of the American education system and American environment, but without giving up what makes the lycée so special, which is predominantly its French curriculum, but really it's the blending of these two systems and the way it's done in our new building that makes us so pleased, and exemplified also by the upcoming opening of our new auditorium, which will have 370 seats and will be a fantastic way for our students to express all of their talents in the arts, theater, music, as well as inviting outside speakers and allowing our students to learn better to speak, which is something that the French system does not really traditionally emphasize. In France, the caricature says that French teachers are there to deliver the master course and the students are there to receive and be good and learn. In America, the caricature is that students are independent thinkers, that they should get up and express themselves. Sometimes that creates a little bit of chaos, but what we're trying to do is have teachers that like and love to teach and do an individual approach to each child. We have relatively small classes, usually under 20, 21, and each child learns sometimes differently. At the Lycée Français de New York, we have over 50 nationalities. We have children that are often trilingual or quadrilingual. When you go into the school, you will see and feel all these different origins. We have every type of socioeconomic diversity, and we strive to keep that an option in terms of providing more and more financial aid, in addition to the scholarship that the French government provides to its own nationals.
He's pouring the dye in the bottle that we're going to dye the flowers with.
On met du colorant dans les bouteilles pour que les fleurs soient colorées.
And so we're going to put flowers, white flowers, which are going to turn blue or green or yellow. She has pink, which are we're going to see if the water that is in the bottle goes actually up into the flower.
N'oublierez pas de nettoyer à la fin et de jeter les trucs à la poubelle.
I actually am American by both parents, and I'm fortunate enough that both parents agreed that the French education was a superb one, and they gave me the gift when I was very young and couldn't have my own opinion to enroll me at the Lycée Français de New York when we were living in New York. And so I did my first few years of schooling at the Lycée in New York, and now as a parent with a French husband who was raised in the States, I've enrolled my children at the Lycée. If I were asked what I love the most about the French Lycée and my work there, I would say, first of all, that I am hopelessly in love with France and all things French. And I got that from the Lycée and from my parents. And I consider that, as I said before, an exceptional gift, something that I want to give to my children and I want to give to as many children as possible. It really opens up the mind, and it's a beautiful, beautiful history and culture that one would never be able to get in the same way if one studied it as a typical American student. So my biggest excitement in all this work is being able to deliver for what we hope now will be generations to come, the platform necessary to give that same gift to so many other children.
In a world of DVDs, computers, IMAX screens, and cell phones that do everything but serve lunch, it can be hard to reimagine the spell cast by the early cinema. What could have been so special about that stuff? One man knows and shares his enthusiasm, knowledge, and just plain showmanship with the doubters. He's Serge Bromberg, a Frenchman who's been collecting, restoring, and showing early cinema to amazed audiences most of his adult life. Canape chats with Serge.
The whole thing began 30 years ago when my father brought home a Super 8mm projector. I took it and loaded the film on it. It was A Night in the Show, Charlie Chaplin. And from that moment, I was 8-year-old, I got stuck. It's like any spell. You don't know when it begins, but when it has begun, it doesn't stop. And the spell of those magical films that you cannot see anywhere. Some of them are lost, they don't exist anymore. Some others are there, but nobody shows them anymore. So basically, there's about 30 to 40 years of cinema where nobody knows what has existed. So ever since I've started to look for films, I've discovered so many. I have 100,000 cans of film, which is enormous for one person, but ridiculous compared to the archive's belongings. But in any event, the great idea is to try to find those lost films that nobody ever kept. You know, about 70% of the films shot in the silent era do not exist anymore. So basically, I spend my life looking for these. On flea markets, basement, attics, and of course I don't find the lost Laurel and Hardy film all the time, but what I find is just unbelievable. One day I found a film called The Joy of Living, directed by two English directors who were living in Paris. They did only one film there, then went out of business and left. The film is called The Joy of Living. It's the most wonderful Art Deco cartoon, or I would say animation film I've seen in my life. And this, I didn't know it existed, and actually it did not exist anymore. And here it was again. You know, the real problem is that there is no competition between the private collectors and the archives. There is competition with those who are interested in film and the garbage people that every day just pick up the cans that people just threw away. And that's what we try to avoid. Another problem with those classic films, they were made on a film called a nitrate film that has a very serious problem. About 50 years after it was made, it starts to melt, it deteriorates. So it's very important, it's a race against time, very important to locate those films and copy them to new stock before they go. the most important thing is the pleasure. Basically, looking for films, restoring them is something, but the most important thing to restore is the public. I mean, the pleasure of watching the films.